practice itself needs to be pure. It needs to be pure. We want to eliminate anything that we can so that it is purely a matter of being aware of awareness itself. That's where this is, that's what this is about, is being aware of awareness itself. It's asking a little too much for people to just say, okay, we're going to sit here, be still, be silent, and be aware of awareness itself. That's a little too abstract for a lot of people. So we need to give the mind something to do, right? Cookies for the mind, right? And so we are practicing moving attention away from the thinking activity to paying attention to the body breathing at the belly. But after you do this for a while, something begins to become evident, and that is, when there is no thinking, and it is possible for there to be no thinking, your thoughts are not continuous, there's spaces between your thoughts, right? So there's something there when you're not thinking, it's called awareness, right? So through this practice, what we're doing is we're trying to eliminate constant thinking and start to experience what would it be like without thinking, to be here and be aware. And what I'm aware of right now, because it's convenient, is the body breathing, since that's always here. So I can pay attention to that. It'll give me an object to put my attention on, so that when my attention goes back to thinking, I'll notice that, and then I can bring it back to awareness of the body breathing. Over time, by doing this practice, what gradually happens, if you do it the way it's meant to be done, you do it with sincerity, and you have teaching to support that and a community to support that, because it's challenging to establish a meditation practice. The mind doesn't want to do that. The mind wants to be busy. It wants to think. The body wants to be active. It doesn't want to be still. But if you do this over time, what gradually begins to happen is it starts to dawn on you, oh, wait a minute, I'm being aware of the body breathing. I am being aware of the body breathing. I am being. Oh, maybe what I am is the being, and the being is awareness. Maybe that's what I am. The teachings tell us that is what we are, and if you practice this gradually, it will become evident to you. You will discover your true nature over time. Not only will you discover your true nature over time, but along with that, especially if you've been studying the teachings, you come to realize that your true nature is already happy. Its happiness is not a function of circumstances. Its happiness is a function of its existence itself. Existence itself. You know, we will all on our deathbed realize that the most important thing that you experienced in your life was the fact that you existed. And now that's coming to an end. But between birth and that time on our deathbed, we go through this conditioned process where we forget about all that and we're chasing the carrot. We're trying to get happy. Right? So this helps to bring an end to that. It helps us to get grounded in the truth, to get grounded in our being, and to start to understand that if I can consistently practice this, not only in formal meditation, but if I can consistently practice this as I live my life, I will come out of the craziness of chasing the carrot. I will come out of the craziness of being concerned, worried, upset, agitated, frustrated, depressed, anxious. That'll all start to settle down, and I'll go sane. I'll go sane. I'll be in the natural state. I'll start to experience myself as the awareness itself. And as the awareness itself, happiness is there. Peace is there. Satisfaction is there. If you just pay attention to awareness, you can see it's not going anywhere. It doesn't want anything. It's not unhappy. It's not pursuing anything. It just is. It just is. It's complete. It's fulfilled just as it is. So this is, you know, it's inevitable for us to be born and have to take on an identity in terms of identifying with the body and the personality. We have to do that in order to function in the world. But that's not the end of the process. Unfortunately, for most of humanity, it is the end of the process, and so there's a lot of suffering going on, and then they die. In fact, a lot of people kill themselves just to get out of this situation. Right? Because they get to a point where they realize nothing's ever going to be any different. I'm going to suffer until the body drops. I might as well just end this now. That's a shame. It's a tragedy. And it's even a worse tragedy that most people live out their lives and never experience the natural state of well-being that's available at all times. So that's what's available now, but it's not free lunch. Just hearing about this isn't going to make a difference. No, you have to practice your way out of the condition that you've been living your life in. And that's going to take some time. That's going to take some self-discipline. That's going to take establishing meditation practice. That's going to take learning about the teaching so you understand. This is not a religion. This is scientific. This is the truth. It's nothing you have to believe. You don't have to believe what you are. All you have to do is have a direct experience of it, and it'll be obvious to you. And that experience will allow you to begin to experience what's possible for you as a human being in this life. And once you have that experience, once you make that contact with that experience, right? Once you get on that path and start walking on that path, right? You're coming out of the condition that you were in and coming into an actual experience that's awake and alive, fulfilled, happy, satisfied, and peaceful. That's what's available at all times, and it's been there all along. But most of humanity has been busy chasing the carrot. Most of humanity is being busy trying to be a successful person without ever realizing that being a person is not real. It's inauthentic. It's not real. Being a person is an act. It's not your true nature. So that's what this practice of meditation makes available. And it's very important. In the meditation classes, it's very important for there to be time for the teacher to give a talk, because you have to learn about this new possibility. You have to learn about the details of this new possibility and come to an understanding about it, that it is the truth. And if you do that over time and you do study the teachings and you make this process your own, right, eventually you'll be able to see the truth as it is. You know, it's just like everything else. When you were a little child, you learned about the reality that we agree is the reality. You know, you learn about time, you learn about space, you learn about other people, you learn about yourself, you learn about society, you learn about the rules, the laws, you know, how to succeed, and all the rest of it, right? In the same way here, you will learn a different experience of being, a different possibility, the one that's real. Not an inauthentic possibility, an authentic possibility, the one that is real. I was listening to one of the most popular teachers of this out there today, talking to one of the students, and he was describing this state of being that this is all about. He was describing it, you know, and the person was listening, and they said, wow, you know, that sounds great, you know, wow, that sounds really good. But can you live it? That was his question, but can you live it? And the answer to that question is very important, because the answer immediately from the teacher was, no, you cannot live it. Probably as you heard me say that right now, can you live it? In your mind might go along with the idea that you can live it and say, oh yeah, you can live it, but you have to practice it and you can live it. No, you can't live it. This is why this is challenging, because the reason you can't live it is because who you consider yourself to be, the identity that you've taken on, isn't real, so it can't live anything. So you can't live this. You can't live your life. You're not separate from your life. You are your life. The experience of awareness that you're having is your life, and you are that experience of awareness. Therefore, you are life. You're not living life, you're being life. That's what this is. It's different. There is no two. This is a non-dual teaching. This isn't about you, the person, waking up and becoming enlightened and, you know, being happy and satisfied. No, it's not. This is not about that. This is about your discovering that that can never happen for you as a person. It can't happen for you as a person because the personality doesn't actually exist. You learned it. You're being something that you learn. It's almost like an actor. Right? It's almost like an actor learning a script that they're going to play in a movie, right? And then they start playing the script in the movie, and they never return to their original state. That they experience the rest of their life playing the script, experience the rest of their life playing the character that was scripted, right? That's what humanity is doing, by the way. Humanity is playing a scripted character that they were given by the people that they were born to, by the tribe they were born into, that told them, this is what you are, you're that body, you're this personality, you're American, this is your religion, You're going to go to school, we're going to teach you how to live, we're going to teach you what to do. And that's the whole thing that happens for everybody. Everybody's living in a script, living as a character that they're playing, and then they wonder why. Then they wonder why it feels like something's missing. But most people can't see it because they're preoccupied. You're preoccupied with the identity that you've taken to be real and taken to be what you actually are, and so that's where you're functioning from. That's what you're operating as, right? So when you hear this message, right, this is very important to understand. When you hear this message, you can't hear it as anything other than the personality. You don't have any other way to be but the personality. That's what you've learned, right? And so what happens is the first thing you go to do is try and be the personality as the awareness. You don't want to leave that behind. You want to bring that with you. I want to come to the party, but only as the personality. Because if I don't come as the personality, I won't know who I am. I won't know how to act. I won't know how to be. But you see, that's not a problem because the awareness doesn't change anything. If you wake up to be who you really are and start to experience the truth and start to be happy, peaceful, and satisfied, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The personality can't hear that, right? The personality will sit there and say, well, I get what he's saying, but that's not how it is for me, so I'm not there. Therefore, I have to do something to get there. Something has to change.
So awareness is not a noun, it's a verb.
Yeah, awareness is a verb. Awareness is a happening. It's not a thing, it's no thing. It's not a thing, it's no thing, right? But without it, there is nothing. Without it, everything can't be, right? Without awareness, everything. So everything and nothing are the same thing. I don't want to get too, I don't want to go too far here, right? Because these teachings are very deep, right? And if you study the teachings and you can develop a deep understanding of these teachings, it will serve you even more to be motivated to want to experience your true nature. So that and because what happens if you start to meditate and start to practice and you start to get glimpses of this, right? What happens is you start realizing how crazy you are. You start watching the crazy mind and you start realizing, wow, I used to believe that shit. You start not following it anymore. When it starts telling you to say crazy stuff and do crazy stuff, you see it, but you say, well, I'm not doing that, because you've been around long enough to know what's going to happen next, right? And unless you want to pay a lot of lawyers, and be in a lot of marriages, and go through all the shit that people go through in a normal life, unless you want to go through all that, then you better take heed to what's being said here and understand it's available to you. Every single one of us shares the same awareness. There's nothing more immediate to you than this awareness. There's nothing truer than this awareness. In fact, a lot of people talk about the ancient wisdom teachings that teach this as reality teaching. Coming out of the dream and seeing things as they are. The world that you live in that's given by your thinking is a dream world. It's a dream world. It's no different than when you're sleeping at night and you're dreaming, right? You wake up in the morning, you thought that stuff was really happening, but it was all a dream. It was all just you. There was nobody there at all. It was your mind manifesting itself as a dream. And then you wake up in the morning and you say, oh, that was a dream. This is real. Oh, really? Oh, no. Unfortunately, that dream was based on this dream. It's an extension of this dream. And when you're dreaming at night, right? When you're dreaming at night, the body's lying there sleeping, isn't it? Yeah? So this is interesting because this shows you the truth about your identity. When you're dreaming at night, the body's lying there sleeping. So the body's resting. Who you are, who you think you are, sleeping, isn't it? Right? So who's watching the dream? Who's that? See, the awareness is watching the dream, and the awareness is watching you be the person too, just like in the dream. Right? So I hope I have said something here that got your attention, that gives you a sense of what's possible here and motivates you to take this a step further, which means even if you do nothing else but come to this class consistently, you'll start to get a sense of the possibility and you'll start to fill in the differences and start to meditate on a daily basis. You'll do that. You'll do that naturally. You'll do that because you come to see the truth, which is happiness is available.